Have you ever sat with a cup of chamomile tea and wondered, does this stuff actually work? Or maybe you've heard that ginger is great for an upset stomach, but you're not sure why. Well, today we're diving deep into the world of medicinal herbs, blending ancient wisdom with modern science. So let's get into it. This isn't some new wellness fad you see on social media. We're talking about something way, way older. We're tapping into a deep, global history of healing that goes back thousands of years, from traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda in India, all the way to the folk remedies your grandmother might have used. And that's the big question, right? You hear about all these amazing plants, and it just feels overwhelming. Where do you even start? Don't worry. The whole point of this explainer is to give you a really simple, clear way to start thinking about herbs. Look, trying to memorize a giant list of herbs and what they all do, that's just a recipe for disaster. It's too much. So we're going to flip the script. Instead of learning a list, we're going to group them by what they actually do for us. It's so much easier. Okay, first things first, let's clear something up. When we say herbal tea, what we're usually talking about is a tisane. This isn't the same as the black or green tea you get from the Camellia sinensis plant, which has caffeine. Tisanes are made from all sorts of other plants, and key point, they are naturally caffeine-free. That's a big part of their magic. All right, let's kick things off with a category I think everyone can relate to these days. Herbs that help us deal with stress, quiet our minds, and get a good night's sleep. These are the calming botanicals. So our big three here are probably no surprise: chamomile, lavender, and lemon balm. But the really cool part is the why. Look at that last column, active compound. Those are the names of the specific little molecules, like apigenin in chamomile, that are actually doing all the heavy lifting to help us chill out. This is so fascinating. You've got these two giants of calm, chamomile and lavender, but they work in totally opposite ways. Think of chamomile as an inside job. You drink it, and its compounds literally bind to receptors in your brain to make you feel sleepy. But lavender, that's an outside job. Its powerful smell, its aromatherapy, is what triggers the relaxation response in your brain. Okay, so we've calmed the mind. Now let's talk about soothing the body, specifically your gut. This next group of herbs is all about digestive health, the ones you reach for when your stomach is just not happy. And hey, chances are you already have these three in your kitchen, right? Peppermint, ginger, and fennel. The key is knowing which one to grab for what. Peppermint is your go-to for general tummy troubles and cramps. Ginger is the powerhouse for fighting nausea. And fennel? Perfect for that uncomfortable, bloated feeling after a big meal. Ever wonder why peppermint tea feels so good on an upset stomach? Well, it all comes down to one thing: menthol. This compound is a natural muscle relaxant, and it works directly on the muscles of your digestive tract, calming down those painful spasms you get with something like IBS. And then there's ginger. We are not just talking about an old folk remedy here. The science on its anti-nausea effect is so strong. I mean, we have solid clinical studies showing that its active compound, gingerol, can work even better than some over-the-counter and even prescription drugs for things like motion sickness. That's pretty amazing. All right, moving on, let's talk about building up your body's defenses. Think of this category as your personal protective shield, the herbs you turn to when you want to support your immune system, especially when everyone around you is starting to sniffle. So here's your immune support toolkit. Echinacea is what you grab when you feel that first little tickle in your throat, that uh-oh feeling. Elderberry, that's for when you're already down for the count and in the middle of a cold. And turmeric, well, turmeric is your long game player, working behind the scenes to fight inflammation. Okay, let's be real about echinacea for a second. The science is a little fuzzy on whether it can actually stop you from getting a cold in the first place, but, and this is a big but, there's some really good evidence that if you take it right when you start to feel sick, it can make the cold you do get way shorter and a lot less awful. And honestly, I'll take that. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most powerful tip in this whole explainer. The magic stuff in turmeric is called curcumin, but here's the problem. Our bodies are terrible at absorbing it on its own. The fix is so simple. Just add a tiny pinch of black pepper. The piperine in the pepper boosts your body's absorption of curcumin by, get this, up to 2,000%. It is a total game changer. All right, we've talked a lot about the what and the why. So now for the fun part, the how. How do you actually get all this goodness from the plant and into your cup? Let's get practical. It basically boils down to two methods, and it's super simple. For the delicate stuff, flowers and leaves like chamomile or peppermint, you make an infusion. That's just a fancy word for making tea. You pour hot water over them and let them steep. But for the tough guys, like ginger root or bark, you need a decoction. That just means you let them simmer gently in water on the stove for a while to really pull out all the good stuff.
We've had a lot of fun, but I need you to lean in for this next part, because it is, without a doubt, the most important section of this whole explainer. We have to talk about using these herbs safely.
I want this to be the one thing you remember today. Natural does not mean risk-free. Seriously. Just because it grew out of the ground doesn't mean it's safe for everyone, all the time. These are powerful substances, and you've got to treat them with respect. So, before you try anything, please just run through this quick mental checklist. First, talk to a professional, especially if you're pregnant, taking any medications, or have a health condition. Second, be aware of drug interactions. Some herbs, like St. John's wort, can seriously mess with crucial medications. Third, know your source. Quality really, really matters. And last, know the contraindications. Something that seems harmless, like licorice root, is a big no-no for anyone with high blood pressure. Okay, that was a lot. But now you're not just curious anymore, you're informed. You can start to explore this amazing world safely and effectively. And remember, it all starts with just one plant. So after everything we've talked about, from that calming cup of chamomile to that fiery ginger, what's calling to you? What's going to be the first addition to your own home apothecary?